This is security footage from Greenvale Mall, Dayton, Ohio. The camera is number 14, located in the main corridor on the first level. The date stamp reads October 3rd, 2024. The time is 2:41 a.m. Watch the corridor. Watch it carefully, because there are 2 guards on screen, and only one of them is supposed to be there. His name was Marcus Webb. He was 31 years old and had been working the night shift at Greenvale Mall for 4 months. The pay was $18 an hour, and the job was simple. Walk the entire mall every 2 hours, log anything unusual, and call it in if something was seriously wrong. In his 4 months there, Marcus had logged exactly nothing. The mall was a ghost. Greenvale had been shut down for over a decade. No shops, no customers, no one. It was just Marcus, the dim amber floor lights, and the hum of old air moving through old ducts. In a text to his sister, he called it the quietest place I have ever been. He sent that message on October 2nd, the night before everything changed. Marcus started his 2 a.m. round, just like any other night. He'd leave the security office, turn left down the main corridor, past the darkened food court, and walk through the massive center court. He'd pass the skeletal frame of the old carousel, the dry fountain filled with dust, and the locked entrance to the Anchor department store. Then he'd loop back up the service corridor and return to his office. The whole trip took 80 minutes, door to door. He had walked this path so many times he didn't even need his flashlight anymore on the familiar stretches. On the night of October 3rd, halfway through his round, his radio crackled. It checked Italiano nothing. He turned up the volume. Just static. Then, from somewhere up the corridor ahead of him, he heard it. The sound of footsteps. But they weren't his. Marcus crept toward the corridor entrance, flashlight on its beam dancing across the dirty tiles ahead. He reached the entrance and swept the light across the long, empty hall. It was completely deserted. He walked the entire length of the corridor, checking every gated storefront, every dark doorway, every deep shadow. Nothing. He stood at the far end for a long moment, listening to the silence. His radio crackled again. He raised it to his mouth. "Is anyone on this frequency?" he asked. The radio was silent. Then, another sound came through. It wasn't a voice. It was the distinct, crisp sound of a logbook page being turned. At 2:23 a.m., a rattled Marcus Webb returned to the security office. He sat down and stared at his wall of CCTV screens. And for the first time in his 4 months on the job, he noticed an icon on the server's desktop, an archive folder. It was labeled Greenvale CCTV, 2013 to present. 11 years of footage from 38 cameras. It had never been opened, curiosity getting the better of him. Marcus clicked on a random file. Camera 14, Main Corridor, 2:41 a.m. He started jumping through dates. January 2019, March 2021, August 2022. Always the same camera, always around the same time, always the same corridor. And in every single clip, there was a figure, a security guard, walking the corridor. Dark, navy uniform, heavy boots, flashlight held low in his right hand. The figure followed the exact same route, at the same pace, with the same pauses at the same points. It was Marcus's route, the one he thought he had designed himself when he started 4 months ago. This figure had been walking it for 11 years. Marcus opened the oldest file in the archive, dated June 14th, 2013. The very day the mall closed for good. The figure was there. A chill crawled up his spine. Marcus frantically searched the company's employee records for previous guards at Greenvale Mall. He found one name, Joel Rains, employed from September 2009 to March 2014. At the bottom of the employment file, there was a single handwritten note, scanned in. It read, "Employee failed to complete shift on March 8th, 2014. Did not check out. Did not call in. Personal effects found in security office. Employee not located." Attached to the file was Joel's badge photo. A lean man, maybe 6'1", with a slight stoop. There was a small, faded scar above his left eyebrow. Marcus stared at the photo, then looked down at the logbook on his desk, the one he'd filled out every night for 4 months. Suddenly, he noticed something. An entry from his very first shift. something he had logged as a simple property note and completely forgotten about. He had written, "Floor tiles on East Corridor, heavily worn between lights 4 and 5. Possible maintenance issue. Will monitor." He had never thought about it again. Until now. It was time for his 3 a.m. round. He didn't want to go, but as he later wrote in his logbook, stopping the rounds would mean admitting something was wrong. And he had decided he had made a conscious decision that nothing was wrong. He walked out of the security office and turned left, down the main corridor. He forced himself not to look up at camera 14 as he passed beneath it. He reached the center court, with the dead carousel and the dry fountain. He stopped. There, in the middle of the court, sitting on the lip of the fountain, was a logbook. It wasn't his. His was in his cargo pocket. He could feel its familiar weight against his leg. This one was different. Older. He picked it up. On the cover, written in faded but legible permanent marker, were the words, "Rains Greenvale Security -2009 to present." Marcus opened it. Joel Rains had logged every single shift from September 2009 to March 2014. Same route, same times, same format as Marcus's own logbook, and every entry read the same. Round complete. No anomalies. All secure. Every single one. For 4.5 years. Marcus flipped to the last page. March 8th, 2014. The night Joel disappeared, Joel had completed his midnight and 2 a.m. rounds. The 4 a.m. entry was half finished. It read, 4:02 a.m. Center Court. Notice that's where the pen had stopped. The sentence was never finished. Marcus stood there, holding Joel's life in his hands. Then he looked at the page more carefully. Below the unfinished entry, in different handwriting, newer, less faded, written at a different time, 2 more words had been added. He recognized the handwriting immediately. It was his own. The words read, "He's here." Marcus ran. He bolted back to the security office, his heart hammering against his ribs. He collapsed into his chair and stared at the monitors. Camera 14 main corridor. Live feed. The corridor was empty. He pulled up the archive, navigating to tonight's footage. Camera 14 to 41 a.m. The clip he had seen at the very beginning of this video. The 2 figures. He watched it again. His breath caught in his throat. The figure in the foreground, his own torch. His build. His distinct walk. That was him. That was him. He remembered walking that corridor at 2:41. And the figure in the background, Joel, 80 feet behind him, matching his pace, mirroring his pauses. But this time Marcus did something he hadn't done before. He watched the clip all the way to the end. He'd always stopped it after a few seconds, too disturbed to continue. At 2:41 a.m. and 58 seconds, the figure in the background, Joel, stops walking. Slowly, for the first time in 11 years of footage, he turns around and he looks directly into camera 14. The resolution wasn't great, but Marcus could see enough. Joel wasn't looking at the camera. He was looking past it. At the security office, he was looking at Marcus. Marcus Webb filed an incident report with Greenvale Security Services on October 4th, 2024. He described everything he had found in the archive, the logbook, the handwriting. The company's response came in a single, cold email. It read, "Thank you for your report. Archive footage from 2013 to 2023 has been reviewed. No anomalies found. Please continue your rounds as scheduled." Marcus quit that afternoon. He returned his badge, handed in his logbook, and never went back. 3 weeks later, the company hired a new night guard. His name isn't public record. On his first shift, he designed his route. Left out of the security office, down the main corridor, through the center court, back up the service corridor. 18 minutes, door to door. The new guard has been logging his rounds for a month now. EOS noted in his very first entry that the floor tiles on the east corridor are heavily worn between lights 4 and 5. He logged it as a maintenance issue. He hasn't thought about it again. Not yet. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like and subscribe for more chills. Stay safe out there.